I put some stuff up on the board about endings that helps a little bit, but doesn't begin to address their challenge um, and why they're so gosh darn hard to do. Good endings involve a lot of rereading. Writing observations about essays helps us. Um, Endings really point out the recursive or the over and over again quality of college level work. And another thing about endings is that conversations with people really help. Conversations with the professor, with colleagues, with other people who can write their own observations and make them is really the truth of the matter is that rarely do we get to writing strong endings independently all by ourselves. It requires other people. College level work is much more collaborative than we may have experienced in high school. So, to give another view or another set of information about ending writing, and also to help you guys see the how the shape, the once now shape works, I decided I am a writer just like you, so I decided to write an essay about endings. Here it is. And just as we would do in class, I'm going to read this essay out loud. You'll see the printed copy online. You can read along if you'd like to open it up and look at it online, or you could read it later. But what I'm going to suggest to you do now is this is going to take about 5 or 6 minutes, maybe a little longer, for me to read. It's about endings. It's also an example of a once now shape. So what I want you guys to do as I read right now in this video is I want you just to sit back. You can close your eyes if you'd like, or you can watch me if you prefer. But you don't need to write anything. You don't even need to look anything. I just want you to listen. And after you listen, you might, in fact, I'll ask you might pick up a pen and write observations about this what you've heard for 5 minutes. Just for 5 minutes. I noticed that this essay, blah, 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 start with the most obvious. And then also point out sentences that were strong to you, ideas that you think are worth holding on to. What ideas can you notice? What strong sentences are easy to remember after I've read a whole paper? So the reason I say don't write until I'm done is that our listening is a great filter. It's hard to hold on to stuff that's not important. It's easy to hold on for our ears to hold on to the good stuff. So listening to an essay is a great way of sort of testing the essay writer and sort of using your listening power to filter out just what's strong. That's why this writing 5 minutes of observations right after is really, really useful. So do that because those are going to really help you for one of our assignments this week. So pull out a piece of paper, get your pen ready, and sit back. Here is my essay, my once now essay. Off we go. And essay endings used to be easy. After college, though, things have changed. High school teachers scolded, be clear, say what you're going to say it, and say what you said. Such reductive formulas don't hold anymore for real writers, though. After high school, essay writing moves beyond writing simple 5-paragraph essays. In high school, students need only to quickly jot down a simple summary of what their essay has said. No longer. For college-level essays, the work of writing endings is much more involved. It's harder. Happily, though, it's much more interesting work as well. First paragraph. There's a reason high school teachers use 5-paragraph essays as the standard writing exercise. High school students are learning to organize knowledge. History teachers use essays to test what students know about the causes of the Civil War. An introductory paragraph followed by 3 detailed causes paragraphs. The North and South, cultural differences, the expansion of slavery into new territories, states' rights, followed by a summarizing. In conclusion, the 3 causes of the American Civil War are blah, 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 blah. These essays are boring to write and to read, But the essays do show that that high school student knows something. She's gathered her facts. He has demonstrated his knowledge of key terms. She has sensibly organized them into the accurately spelled and grammatically correct, punctuated language of public writing. Testing fact knowledge, demonstrating language ability, and sensible organization, these are reasonable goals. These are goals that students work through all through their K through 12 organization. What matters most in these kinds of essays is the middle paragraphs. High school essays show their smarts in the middle paragraphs, 2, 3, and 4. The more facts the essay repeats, the better the grade. High school introductions and so-called and so-called conclusions. I hate that word. They're like wrapping paper. The essays will talk. This essay will talk about. In conclusion, this essay has revived. They just point forward and backward to the middle. Pointing is easy. Students dash out these parts almost as afterthoughts. In conclusion, phew, I'm almost done, thinks Yolanda. But the poor, polite high school essay reader, it's all he can do not to yawn. They're not bad, evil, or wrong, these high school teachers with their 5-paragraph essays. These essays test knowledge that students have collected. High school students need their knowledge tested, knowing basic facts about the world. That's why we require high school education. Diplomas show that teenagers are ready for adulthood. High school diplomas show students know some stuff. They know how to read. They know how numbers work. They can organize information. All this information they've collected over the years, some of which may actually be useful. High school graduates have basic thinking tools to survive as independent adults in an information economy and in a financial one. College students, though, you graduate from college with a whole set of different tools. College thinking tools are sharper, finer, more varied, more efficient, sexier, more stylish, more powerful, and far more interesting to use. Students also feel pretty clumsy trying them out for the first few times. For years, we watch high school students mixing their pancake batter with a big wooden spoon. By 12th grade, you're pretty good with it. Then we college professors come in with like heavy 2-beater high power mixers. Batter starts flying in every direction. Vroom! What confusion. What a mess. This partly explains why first-year college writing classes are so challenging. The old high school tools with their 5 paragraphs, the Merriam-Webster dictionary defines, and in their conclusions, these tools no longer suit the task. Our writing is not high school writing. Our essays are not high school essays. High school essays collect facts. College essays generate new knowledge. It's a huge difference. It's almost a completely different game. And it's part of what makes the writing work in college so challenging at first. It explains why writing endings is so hard. College readers are not satisfied with endings that summarize or repeat. We demand more. Our time is precious. Our patience is limited. We want a payoff for the work of reading through this essay or that one. We want a new perspective, a deeper appreciation, a revealed dimension. We want to know why any of this stuff that we've just read could apply to our real lives. We want to learn from a unique or original expression of a particular life story. We want to be instructed with a lesson that we hadn't known we needed. We want good advice. We crave insight. Our level, our lives, your life, my life are complex. We need help. Strong essays help us. They encourage or they instruct or they enlighten. There's no simple formula for finding a strong ending, but we do recognize them when we read them. Recognizing strong endings, noticing which ones satisfy us, that may be a really good first step for learning how to make them ourselves. Whatever we pay attention to grows. So if you want to grow strong endings, pay attention to all the endings that you've read and that you will be reading in the course ahead. So, what are other steps writers take to develop strong endings? The essay shapes we've been practicing in our class always start in the middle. We research with memory and reflection. We choose a story to tell. We pull out all the information from readings and lectures and videos and conversations. These sources serve the demands of the middle part essay guts. The concrete, specific detail, smell, shape, sense, sneaky side-eye glances, the pain-streaked grimace of a stick-bash goalie, or that coquettish, flirty wink of the 3-year-old. We start our essays shapes with middles, with the details. We're familiar with details, this kind of writing. High school writing gives us practice. It's made us familiar with organizing facts. And rereading these middles, rereading your story, rereading your once now, these are important next steps. Rereading middles gives writers a chance to step back a bit and assess. Once all the concrete experience has been written down, we can take it all in at once. Slow and deliberate rereading lets us ponder. What do I notice? What can I notice? Which parts stand out as more important and more interesting? What patterns can I pick out? What different levels can I see? What different categories seem to fit about what happened? Which directions do the actions move in? How do the feelings change? What's surprising? Using the slow, patient, and calm focus of rereading that's questioning what we see gives writers a chance to ask all kinds of which and what questions. The most helpful of these, perhaps, may be, so what? What matters about all this middle part of all that I've said in this middle part? Writing observations about middles is also a dependable, repeatable, proactive step that writers can use to consider and stretch thinking. Observation writing usually starts with the easiest, most readily observable things, phrased in short, simple sentences. I noticed that this essay talks about endings. I noticed that this essay contrasts high school essays with college-level writing. Observation writing often grows more interesting and complex as we warm up, as we get going. I notice college-level endings do not summarize. There's no formula to use. Idea writing is different from fact writing. Concrete, abstract. Endings move more towards new understandings of abstract ideas. Endings move away from characters, events, people, places, things, and they move towards new understanding, relative importance, advice, and lifting things up. Very often, parts of a page or two of observation can be used as a rough draft for an ending. I often will type pages of observations over, leaving out the I noticed that part of each sentence. This retyping starts to look like an ending. Then I can rewrite the paragraph again to put the sentences in best order and to phrase them as best I can, and to add more sentences if and where they're called for. The work of writing strong endings, you're noticing, is incremental and recursive. Recursive processes loop back and forth, loop back like cursive writing. Read, reread, write observations, read the observations, type the observations over, reread this rewriting, rewrite the ending to get it clearer and more accurate still. Those diffuse jumbled steps are recursive. This back and forward looping practice of recursive reading and writing deepens writers' focus. And it gives writers time to marshal our energy towards the essay's idea. It's the real-world, practical work of adult, responsible reflection. It takes time. It takes patience. This is what the good hard work of thinking looks like. Writing strong college level endings is hard. Happily, it turns out that your ideas are worth this work. Your ideas merit this kind of good hard work. Essays don't have to simply regurgitate knowledge that most of the world already knows. College level essays generate new thought. Writing essays gives us opportunity to discover meanings in things we didn't realize before. Endings help us appreciate the importance of this story or that event. Endings articulate the parts of things that matter. And in this most generous of generous acts, essays put this meaning out into the world for others to share. Meaning really matters. At least I think so. A life well lived is full of meaning. The good hard work of writing helps us better appreciate where the meaning is hiding. When we take all the trouble to put things into words, we discover all kinds of important things. And an essay lets us share this discovery. Writing real endings is hard. When we write essay shaped from the inside out, we rarely know where we'll end up. And however frustrating this may feel to you at first, it gets more exciting with practice. Essay writers discover things. We discover things we didn't know before we start to do so. We've read and reread. We've written observations. We've asked lots of questions. What lessons can I see here? What's the moral of this story? Our practice writing fable morals serves as no small encouragement. Thinking about endings is the same kind of thinking. Fable morals pull out they pull out the meaning. Essay endings do the same thing. They pull out the meaning. I started this essay with nothing more than our once now essay shape to consider this one thing, endings, in the teenage world of high school step by step, and in the adult college world of recursive reflection. That generating new meaning is slow, focused, and time-consuming work is no surprise. Writing endings is hard. But what a payoff. Strong endings are so very satisfying. It's not always fun to figure things out, but it's always satisfying. That's it. Oh, so that's what I've really been trying to say. Aha! Eureka! Discovering things pleases us Homo sapiens in deep ways. We, the thinking hominids, are wired to make meaning, to suss things out, to notice signs and patterns and better ways of doing things. Strong endings discover. Strong endings please. But best of all, by writing strong endings, we get to share our discovery and our pleasure with others. Hard work? Sure. But it's work of the very most generous kind. Write hard. Be generous. Okay, guys, so a lot of words, a lot of suggestions, and an interesting power of a once now essay shape. I invite you to go reread the essay on your own and use this video and use your own experience with your essays 4, 5, and 6, with your new essay number 7, to reflect upon how do you know your ending is strong, and what are steps that you've used that have been helpful to help you get there. All right, guys, have a good week.